Ben Shapiro gave me a wonderful phone call as soon as I was canceled. And he had said, you need to punch back. You can't take this lying down. We had to kind of uproot our lives from living in LA and an unsafe environment. And we moved into an RV and we traveled to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, to possibly live here. And in my head, I was thinking I was going to end up working for the Daily Wire and we're going to do a movie together and we were going to get this whole, other Hollywood started for conservatives or for not just conservatives, but for anybody who just didn't want to kind of bend on the morals. And so I thought I was going to end up here. And then, and I want to make this clear. The Daily Wire Ben Shapiro gave me a wonderful phone call as soon as I was canceled. And he had said, you need to punch back. You can't take this lying down. And they had this big, long list of joining their company at that time, a big contract. And that was a little too much for me. And I was like, why don't we just start with a movie? And so when I got into the RV and traveled across, I took my time because letting go of where I'd lived for 15 plus years in LA, you kind of have to reintegrate yourself into your new life. Mm-hmm. And so I sold the house, bought the RV, have no idea how to drive an RV, figured it out on the way. And it's like the legit one, it's all connected.
You got the big boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And so...
well, how long did it take you to learn how to drive the RV?
Well, this lady was driving us out of California, and we also had a U-Haul. So Kevin Ross, who's my guy, he was driving the U-Haul with all of our stuff. We gave most of our stuff away, and he was driving the U-Haul with most of our stuff. We were headed to Arizona just to drop off the U-Haul before we went to Nashville. Well, this lady, I was trying to learn from her. She drove us to the border, and I was trying to learn from her, and she just was like, honey, you're just gonna have to figure this out yourself, And I was like, she's a big smoker. She's like, it'll be fine. It's not that bad. And I was like, oh, shit, can you tell me what this button does? Can you tell me what this does? And I just was trying to pick her brain, but she didn't want to have any conversation. She just wanted to do her job to get us to the border. And I was like, all right, well, we pulled over in a Walmart. She unhooked her car from our RV. And Kevin's looking at me and he's like, well, you want me to drive? And I've driven horse trailers and I've driven a lot of, we've moved ourselves so many times in life. I'm like, I'm not afraid of this thing. I just need to get in the seat.
I just need to know what this button does.
Yeah. And so that first day I drove 13 hours, to get to Prescott, Arizona, and there was a monsoon happening, and the streets were a mess, and I was just like, yeah, this would happen to me.
Holy shit!
But it was great though. It was the hardest learning curve of how do you drive an RV, and then we drove that RV across to come to Nashville, Tennessee, and it felt like the whole entire time a storm was following me. I remember it was around tornado season, whenever that is, but it just felt like there was a storm following us the entire time. And we went and we came out to Nashville, and we got on this lake, and we parked, I always like to be right on or not lake, it was a river. We parked down on the river, and it looked like people had lived there full time. Uh-huh. And we parked down on this river and we stayed there for about 2 weeks. And then I was going into town in Nashville and speaking with the Daily Wire. And then an Uber driver would bring me back out. And then we were finally going to get into our Airbnb that we were supposed to be in for 6 months. Well, the day we moved out of that RV spot, it started to trickle down rain at 7 a.m. And I was like, wow, this is okay, this is awesome. Okay, so we're leaving now. It's going to rain. Cut to the Uber driver calling me later on that day, and he's like, hey, I don't want to be unprofessional here, but are you okay? And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we just moved into our Airbnb. We're great. And he said, the place that you were at is underwater right now. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was that big flood that you guys had.
Wow.
And, when you saw those RV floating down the river, I was parked next to that RV.
Wow.
And some of those RVs that were floating, and like the path that we walked the days before was completely underwater. So it was a God thing as well.
Some divine intervention happening.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have had any idea. And we would have lost the only home at that point we had.
Man.
So we moved into the Airbnb and had the conversation with the Daily Wire, because at that time they were talking about SAG-AFTRA, the union for actors and everybody else. They were talking about mandating the vaccine. And what would have happened is, had we started shooting this, it was called White Knuckle, and it was about a trucker who was it was a cool, like it would have totally been a hit kind of movie, a serial killer, and we would have needed that to be union because of the stunts that were involved. And they said, the Daily Wire said, look, we hate that this is our first meeting with you. I mean, you just drove across country here, but we would need you to sign a contract that said that if SAG came to our set and demanded that everybody on that set was vaccinated, that you would comply with getting vaccinated. And I was like, just absolutely, and they know it, brokenhearted, just completely thrashed internally, just, this is everything I was standing against. And then I moved my entire life in my RV over, thinking, now I'm going to find my people, and I'm going to, and this is the first meeting.
Wow.
And so, and they're not bad people. They had to present me with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And the facts is, we can do a $4 million movie, have it be a SAG union, hit, basically, because it was a great script. And Jeremy Boring is like, he's a genius. So he had been working on the script, and it was turning into something really special. And I just went home to the RV place because we're still there. And I was like, this, just in tears, just like, I moved away from this. I thought we were starting something different, and very heartbroken. And then I went in for the second meeting, and I told him, I'm just not willing to do that, because who then would we hire? And they didn't want to do it either. They just had to present the facts to me. And I was like, who then would we hire? And they said, well, we'd hired only vaccinated people besides you. And I said, I feel like this is everything I'm standing against. So I guess no is the answer. And is there another option?
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.